Okay, let's get a check now of what's happening in the world of business. Our business editor, Kate Moody's here. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
Let us begin, shall we, with an update on the state of European air traffic.
Very disappointing, Tom, is how the head of Airbus has described the recovery so far in 2021. Guillaume Faury was speaking at an online event with the air traffic control group Eurocontrol. That agency said that overall air traffic in Europe remains 64% lower than it was in March 2019. The number of low-cost routes being flown is 84% lower than its pre-pandemic average. Key to recovery will be the pace of vaccine rollouts and how the EU adapts its border and travel restrictions. The Airbus CEO, meanwhile, said that air traffic was already rebounding in the US, but he warned there's more uncertainty about international travel, especially long-haul routes that use the manufacturer's biggest planes. Well, more than a year of travel restrictions have taken their toll on Paris, Europe's most visited city. The capital and its surrounding region have lost over 15 billion euros as tourism dried up. Ellen Gainsford reports.
It's eerily quiet in central Paris, with travel restrictions still in place and a third coronavirus lockdown. The usual crowds of tourists are absent.
Il y a plus de touristes, plus de foule, plus de masse.
Il y a pas grand monde, donc c'est ça qui est bien.
Pour la photo, c'est bien. Pour le reste, c'est un peu triste, bien sûr.
There were only 17.5 million visitors to Paris in 2020. That's down from 51 million in 2019. The president of the Greater Paris region, Valérie Pécresse, is asking the government for a 10 billion euro rescue fund. It would be good news for businesses like this crêperie in the city centre.
Un an sans touristes dans Paris, c'est une situation inédite et c'est vraiment incroyable. On est à la gorge, il n'y a pas d'autre mot, on est à la gorge en tant que restaurateur.
It's the same problem for hotel owners. 1 in 2 hotels remain closed. Overall, the region has lost 15.5 billion euros.
Il est essentiel, évidemment, de relancer le tourisme francilien, notamment dans la perspective des Jeux Olympiques de 2024, mais aussi parce que c'est une locomotive du tourisme en France. Paris est un peu la vitrine touristique à l'international de la destination France.
To help the sector rebound, the president of the region is also calling for tourism workers to be prioritised for COVID vaccines.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. Positive close for the major European indices. Gains over 1% for each the Paris CAC 40 and Frankfurt DAX, about half that for stocks in London. Investors were encouraged by a sharper than expected increase in economic sentiment across the Eurozone in the month of March. Well, consumer confidence is also rising in the US, but Wall Street is trending lower despite that, down between about 0.3 and half a percentage point this hour. Moving on to some of the day's other business headlines now. Foxconn says a global shortage of electronics components is worsening and could extend into next year. The Taiwan-based manufacturer, which supplies parts for Apple, among others, posted lower than expected profits despite strong sales of the iPhone 12. The U.S. car industry has urged President Joe Biden to support a comprehensive plan on electric vehicles. A letter signed by manufacturers and workers' unions called for hefty government tax credits and numerous other financial incentives for them to remain competitive in the rapidly changing market. And the Turkish lira dropped once again as President Recep Tayyip Erdogan fired another top official at the central bank just a week after replacing the governor. No reason was given for the change. Erdogan has, though, been trying to install officials who agree with his preference for low interest rates, despite inflation that has topped 15%. French prosecutors have called for a former CEO of the country's Ikea branch to be imprisoned and the company fined 2 million euros in a spying case. Ikea France and several of its former executives have been on trial, accused of illegally keeping tabs on hundreds of its employees between 2009 and 2012. Prosecutors allege the company and its management authorized the use of private detectives and police reports to gather information about current or prospective staff members. The former chief executive of Ikea France has denied any role in that alleged scheme, while lawyers for the corporate entity have admitted the case exposed organizational weakness and said the damage caused to Ikea's reputation should be punishment enough. The defense continues its arguments on that rather dramatic case, Tom, later this week.
Dramatic and shocking as well, actually. Surveillance on customers and staff members. Extraordinary. Thank you very much indeed. Our business editor, Kate Moody. Thank you. Time now for a check of the top sports news.